Welcome to Bart's Gaming Corner. I myself got into role-playing games in the early 90s. Yes, I'm that old. Playing games like Betrayal at Krondor, Shining Force 2 and the SSI cult hit Dark Sun, which used the advanced Dungeons & Dragons system. And later on classics like Fallout and the original Baldur's Gate. So if you're interested in getting into playing RPGs as a complete newbie at this moment, what games would be perfect to get your feet wet? First, if you like this type of content, hit the like and subscribe button, you would really help me out. So, on with the video. First, I must admit I blatantly copied the idea for this topic from other similar channels. I saw a couple of best RPGs for beginner videos who were entertaining, but I disagreed with some of the choices. For instance, in one such video, the game Divinity Original Sin 2 was advised. Now, don't get me wrong, Divinity Original Sin 2 is one of the best isometric RPGs to come out in the current years. But it is a CRPG that can be quite daunting as well for beginners. Let's just say that Divinity doesn't take players by the hand. I myself thought about including Baldur's Gate and Fallout from the late 90s, but decided against those. Baldur's Gate used the AD&D system, which can be a bit puzzling if you have never played a role-playing game, either pen and paper or as a video game. And the overall graphics and gameplay elements of the original Fallout are a bit wonky after almost 25 years. So I picked 4 games that came out in the last 10 years or so that are perfect for the beginner to get immersed in the wonderful, exciting world of RPGs. So let's get started. Dragon Age Origins. This party-based fantasy RPG came out in 2009, at the time developer BioWare was at the peak of its potential. In my opinion, this first game of the Dragon Age series was also the best. Dragon Age 2 was a very flawed, mediocre game. Dragon Age 3 Inquisition redeemed the series a little bit, but I didn't love it as much as the first one. Dragon Age Origins is perfect if you're interested in playing party-based isometric RPGs such as Baldur's Gate or Pillars of Eternity. While maybe Origins isn't a isometric RPGs if you go by the strictest definition of the genre, it lets you experience much of the gameplay elements that go with it, without overloading you with too many options and features. The game keeps it simple by letting you choose between only 3 classes: Fighter, Rogue and Mage, and a maximum of 3 races: humans, elves and dwarves. Depending on the race and class you choose, you get a different origin story and introduction in the game, hence the name Dragon Age Origins. The story is set in a typical fantasy world, a medieval European-like society, which is under threat by a faceless enemy called the Blight, which is a sudden onslaught by a horde of monsters called Darkspawn. You and your companions join the Grey Wardens, an elite force created to counter the Darkspawn, with the goal of defeating the Blight, and you on the way encountering Betrayal within as well. Besides the main story, Dragon Age Origins features many interesting side quests and a couple of impressive DLC add-ons. While the graphics may have dated a little, especially when it comes to the backgrounds, the overall gameplay and story can still hold their ground. So this game is perfect for you as a starter. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. If you want to dip your toes playing an open world, first-person RPG, look no further than Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. This game is perfect if you're planning on playing classics like The Witcher 3, Fallout 3, New Vegas and Fallout 4, and even the Mass Effect series. Skyrim just celebrated its 10th anniversary at the end of 2021 and still holds up. While the many quests, guilds, storylines, etc. may seem daunting for the newbie, the actual gameplay is quite simple and effective. When attacking an enemy, either using weapons, stealth or magic, you only have a couple of options available. You don't have to wade through dozens and dozens of different attacks and spells to get the best result. So in that regard, Skyrim is beginner friendly. Coming out in 2011, the graphics can seem dated when compared to current games, but remember, the options to improve in-game graphics through mods are almost endless. Or you can buy the Enhanced or the Anniversary Edition, both of whom offer full HD graphics. Wasteland 3. Another game for lovers of the isometric RPG genre, Wasteland 3 is more focused on tactical turn-based combat. So great if you want to play games like Shadowrun, Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, or even the strategic XCOM series. Wasteland 3 is a quirky, fun, and sometimes bloody trip through a post-apocalyptic Colorado. You head a group of desert rangers, an elite unit dedicated to rebuilding human civilization. Choosing and building your party is all quite easy and intuitive. All a big improvement compared to Wasteland 2, which came out in 2014, which, while a fun game, was somewhat more difficult to get a grip on the basics. Combat is turn-based on a grid-style map and is easy to master as well. And you will do a lot of fighting. Since Wasteland 3 was released in late 2019, the graphics and gameplay are still on the same level as you would expect from new, more current games. Since the original Wasteland, way back in the 80s, was the inspiration for the post-apocalypse RPG genre, need I say Fallout, I can highly recommend this newer and improved Wasteland 3 for you newbies. Diablo 2 Resurrected. Next to Skyrim, this is the most well-known game on this list. Diablo 2 is the granddaddy of the ARPG. A stands for action, genre. A typical ARPG lets you kill hordes of enemies with real-time combat, leveling up to the max and getting loot, getting macho loot. Diablo 2 set the standard for all of this. Luckily, last year Blizzard released an enhanced remastered version of Diablo 2, Diablo 2 Resurrected. So now you can enjoy all that this classic has to offer in glorious Full HD and 4K graphics quality. The gameplay elements and basics are quite easy to learn and very addictive as well. Before you know it, your character will have reached level 20 in no time and you will have slain demonic boss after demonic boss. Diablo 2 set the bar for the ARPG genre and video games in general, so I can highly recommend starting with this game. Even if you plan to play only one RPG in your life, let it be Diablo 2.